Welcome back to the channel. We are Mile High Beach.
Yes, we are.
I'm Alicia, the
Pleshette.
dutiful driver, my wife Pleshette, and our dog Charlie is in the back seat. I don't know, can you see Charlie? I don't know, we don't typically do our videos like this. So
we're using a different camera.
Different thing today, so it's going to be very, very interesting. We have a longer drive today. This is actually a travel day for us. We are headed east. On our Route 66, which is our 2024 route. Yeah, for this year.
Yeah,
pretty exciting.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So we just wrapped up our second stop for Route 66. We actually started in just outside of Los Angeles, and you'll have to see that campground review. It's going to be a minute, but but stay tuned.
Yeah.
Yes. So today was a harvest host, or this last stop was a harvest host, and we're always excited to report on these because they're always so interesting and new. This one was the Roy's Cafe and Motel in Amboy, California.
Yeah.
And what I did not realize until I spoke with the woman that was one of the people that works at the Amboy Motel and Cafe is that it's just north of 29 Palms.
Yeah, about what, 50 minutes or so, 50 miles.
50 miles north of 29 Palms. And if you don't know where that is, you might know where Joshua Tree National Park is. And so it's very, very close to that. So the location is Amboy, California, and we stayed here in early March. And so this is really the first few days of March.
Yeah. Early. It's not even spring yet.
It's not even spring yet. However, one of the things that you find out, and we've experienced this before, but it was April when we were out at Long Street, right?
Yes, yeah. In our first season.
Spring in the desert. So if you're not familiar with the desert, Mother Nature likes to throw her seeds around a lot, in the spring, which means there's a lot of wind. So all the seeds from the plants and all the things get blown around in the wind, and it was pretty windy yesterday.
Yeah, it was definitely windy. Part of the drive was windy,
yes.
And then once we got there, it was still windy. So it was definitely windy.
Yeah, and one of the things that we look for, and this is so funny because we always say that we never really cared that much about this or thought about it before being in this lifestyle and driving a fifth wheel that is the size that we have. We have a 45-foot fifth wheel toy hauler. That's what's behind us. We always look out for the truck drivers. And if we see the truck drivers all pulling over on the side of the road, maybe we should too.
Yes.
Or if we don't see any trucks on the road, we're like, where are the trucks?
Right.
Yeah. And so you could, there's a little bit of footage we might be able to put in here, but I actually took a couple of photos. We were in good company yesterday because the truck drivers were out, and they are out today too.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
It's comforting.
It is comforting
to see them.
Yeah, it is comforting because this is their profession, and they know what to do when to do it. Yeah. All right, so how do we plan this trip? We used TripWizard, didn't we?
Yeah, we used TripWizard, but and again, because this is our Route 66 route, we're looking specifically for things on Route 66, and this one happened to be a good stop between, like you said, our first stop outside of Los Angeles, and on our way to our next kind of major stop in Arizona.
Yeah.
So this was a good kind of middle point.
It was a good middle point.
And it's on Route 66. It's got history.
It has history, yeah. And there's so many points along the way. We actually bought I'm looking around because I thought I had it with me, but we bought a little passport. I'll put a photo of that up in here. You can actually, at the different stops, you can actually buy the passports. And so when you go there, you can get a stamp. And so
similar to the national park passport.
Very similar.
If you're familiar with those.
Yeah.
This one is for Route 66 stops.
Route 66, yeah. And we're not stopping at every single stop, but we're stopping at enough, and we have it's kind of like an invitation to come back and fill in the blanks.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, one thing that happened yesterday that was a little bizarre was, even though we planned this on RV TripWizard, and we actually have an exchange going with one of our followers, there's a difference between RV TripWizard and the planning of things and then how you navigate to where you're going.
Right.
We do not use RV TripWizard for navigating to the spot. Because didn't we try that? on one of the last couple drives, and it did some weird mess?
Yeah, we might have tried it once. I don't remember when, but we've just, since we have the RV Garmin, we just tend to rely on that.
We do.
As our first source.
Yes, as our first source. Because, and that's, you can't see it, but the RV Garmin is right here in front of us. And in this RV Garmin, you can put your height, you can put your length, you can put your weight, and the whole size of your RV, and it routes for your size.
Right.
And that's important. You don't want to be off on some road that you're too heavy for, or too wide for, or too high for. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So I mean, again, we do the 333 rule. So part of that is the arrive by 3:30, go 300 miles, drive 3 hours. It's, that's our guideline.
That is our guide.
This certainly fell within those parameters.
Yeah.
So again, it was a good middle point to get us from our first stop on our Route 66 to our next stop in Arizona.
Yeah, it was. It was a great stop. But the RV Garmin, first of all, the RV Garmin told us to get off at a stop that was a little strange, and we're going to get into this a little bit, into the access and road issues. But we do, just like we research campgrounds, we research harvest hosts. And so you were looking in the reviews for this, and someone had a comment about access.
Yeah, there was someone had commented that the road was closed.
Yeah.
And we weren't sure, well, what does that mean exactly?
What does that mean?
Because people, I love the reviews, but if you don't have enough detail in there, that still doesn't answer the question.
Right.
So in this case, this reviewer said that the road was closed, but we didn't know what that meant.
Yeah.
Or how much of the road was closed. So
you
started making phone calls.
I did, and just like I do with campgrounds, I call, because road closures are not something that you're going to see on maps and all this other stuff. Sometimes you might, but not always.
Actually, on Apple Maps, speaking of that, it does show it.
It does.
It does show it on Apple Maps. It might show it on Google Maps. It actually shows the road closed and kind of a red dotted line.
And it will show that on Waze also.
But it doesn't always.
It doesn't always, yeah. So I called up and I said, so we read some reviews that there's something going on with the road. What's the deal with the road closure? Mm-hmm. And so she said, the road is closed if you come in from the east. So we're coming in from the west, so we're heading east. And so we're like, okay, so then, we asked what route we should take. What's the alternative route? And so she gave us that information. So the thing that was kind of crazy about the RV Garmin, though, is we take this route, which was to get off at Crucero Road.
Basically the Ludlow.
The Ludlow, right. The Ludlow exit. You get off at Crucero, and you just one quick right turn, and then you get right on National Trails and go straight into Amboy. The RV Garmin started wigging out in a way where we have not seen it before.
You're wigging out.
Because the Garmin wanted us to go down to the normal exit, which is Kelbaker.
Kelbaker, yeah.
And that's exit 78.
Yes.
But we had to get off, I'm assuming it was 77, I don't remember, but it was the one before Kelbaker.
Right.
And it would not reroute us. It just lost its mind.
It lost its mind. It had us go. It was like screaming about unpaved roads, and I was like,
and
"What?"
Wanting us to turn
is happening
basically
there?
Onto an unpaved road to get us back out to 40 to go down to Kelbaker.
We're not doing that.
But we already knew that was closed.
Yeah.
So that was not helpful.
It was not helpful, and on this bit about access. So once we get down to Roy's Motel and Cafe, we check in and we see that right here, and I'll put a photo of this, that just east of the Motel and Cafe on National Trails Road, the road is closed. But what we also saw on our way out today, because we had to go all the way back down National Trails into Ludlow to get out, we also saw that the road was closed at Kelbaker.
Right.
Yeah, which you wouldn't know when you're down there on National Trails in Amboy. So anyway, who knows what the situation is? Just don't assume that everything's going to be fine with access. It's always good to call.
Right.
Yeah. So you'll see some footage of us coming in. You'll see footage of us going out, and then there's some photos.
And there was never any unpaved road.
There was never any unpaved road. This, I'm telling you, this thing wigged out in a way that we had not seen. We were like,
we finally just turned it off.
Had to turn it off.
We had to turn it off because it kept trying. And I think eventually it just said, hey, you're just on a drive.
It's a little Sunday drive.
Right. Yeah, no more. You're going to get here at this time. No more navigation.
Get there, it's like, yep, you're just on a drive.
It was giving us the back like the dog does. Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, and I had to use Waze, which I don't love because Waze is not routing for size and weight. So anyway, we got there safely, but it was a little. You said it was a little bit of a pucker.
A little bit, only because it kept telling us to do this unpaved business, and then it was a 28-mile, drive from Ludlow to get into Amboy.
Yeah, and who knows that after you've driven this 28 miles, if there's a place to turn around if you have to.
Right.
So. On that note, there was this guy that pulled into the gas station. We had just pulled up, and there was a guy that pulled in at the gas station. He sees that the road is closed. He goes in and he talks to Ken. Ken tells him, hey, yeah, the road's closed and it won't be opened up until the 10th. He came out of there just livid, swearing and like slamming doors, and I was like, wow. So yeah, so again, don't assume, you never know. And this guy wasn't in a camper, he was just a regular driver. But yeah, we saw some people actually come up, look at what was happening, and they just drove around. So yeah,
because there was some side roads, I think, that would give you access to avoid the road that was actually closed, the National Trails Highway.
Yeah.
There were some dirt roads that ran parallel.
Yeah.
And if you had a
Subaru or a SUV,
had the appropriate clearance.
Yeah.
Because even somebody in the reviews had said they had driven the side road in their Sprinter van.
Yeah.
And they didn't have a problem. They said there were some sandy areas, but they were able to get through it. So I mean, if you are willing to do that, I think there was the option to save you the 30 miles. We're not doing that with
not with this.
Our
nope.
Our 45-foot fifth wheel.
We are not.
So anyway.
The next category is site, width, length, grass, gravel, that kind of thing. So this was a level-ish, gigantic lot.
Yes.
And so when you pull in, so you're heading west on on National Trails, you go pull to the left into the gas station to check in.
Heading east. Well, the way
I'm sorry, we're heading east, yeah. Coming from the west, heading east. You're on National Trails heading east, and you drive into the gas station. You check in at the gas station, and then they tell you to park across the street. So there's a big giant lot. I've got a little bit of footage there. You'll see very big lot. They could have put any number of RVs up in there.
Yeah. Just to the east side of the post office.
Right.
The post office, the Amboy post office, is just across the street from the gas station.
Yeah, and they recommended that we park just east of that to sort of mitigate some of the wind, because the wind was pretty serious. And if you've ever been in the desert during the windy time of year, it's nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I don't know what it was. We didn't have our weather station up.
No, we don't know what
really
the
look at
miles
our
per hour
apps or anything like that would tell us, but it was windy. Windy enough that when we first got there, we just left the slides in.
Yeah.
Because we didn't need them out.
Yeah.
We were just sitting back in the back.
Yeah.
Having a little snack.
Yeah.
And then we were going to go out and look at some stuff anyway.
Yeah.
So we didn't need the slides out, so we just left them in.
Just left them in. Yeah.
While that wind was still at its height.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy. Other park amenities. So a thing to note that it's not a hotel, nor is it a cafe, even though it's called Roy's Hotel and Cafe. And what we mean by that is that, you know, it's really more like almost like like an outdoor museum. You know, you see the little bungalows, the little motel-y rooms, and the doors are open and you can just kind of go in there and look. And then to the left of that was the original sort of office area where you would have checked in.
Right.
And that's just like a museum. You just look in there. You can't go in there, but you can look through the windows, kind of see what's in there.
But it's the iconic front entrance of the Roy's Motel.
Iconic.
And they left all the stuff in there.
I mean, it's
looks
amazing.
like if you were checking in 1950.
Seriously, like, yeah, I'll put a couple photos of that up here. It's quite something to look at. So you need to bring your own food, to that point about it being a cafe. You know, sometimes some of these harvest hosts, you know, you can, you know, there's food, there's, you know, provisions, there's a distillery, there's a bar,
snacks, food trucks.
This is none of that.
None of that.
Yeah, this is none of that. Now it is a store, and in the store you have snacks and memorabilia and, you know, vintage sodas and
like a
ice cream.
gas mini
It's really
mart.
kind of like a gas mini mart. Yeah, but some nice memorabilia without the alcohol. Yeah.
So don't come in there looking for
Don't come in there looking for that. No, there's none of that. Yeah. Now, if you do want to go eat, you can go back to Ludlow. Again, 30 miles west of this location. You can go back into Ludlow. But yeah, you need to be coming in with your own food. And on that note about, you know, amenities, there's really no. So there was cell service, which was kind of nice. There's an AT&T tower there. So we have an AT&T hotspot, so we use that. But we also used our 5G Verizon. We have two ways we can access that, the 2G and the 5G. And the 5G was lickety split, which was kind of surprising because the 2G was horrible.
Yeah, so, yeah, the 2G, 2.4 gigahertz is typically for the closer range.
Yeah.
And the closer range was not really, it was not good.
No,
but the 5 gigahertz was actually...
pretty zippy.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah,
it was great.
We did not have to put our Starlink out. We could watch TV. We could stream. It worked out fine. Now they also have an Amboy Wi-Fi that the folks in the office will give you the password to, but the power went out. So, with the power going out, there was no gas station, there was no store, there was no Wi-Fi, and so that's a big old bummer if you're coming in, because they're usually open. The hours are 8:30.
8 to 8 or something?
Yeah, I think it's 8 to 8. Yeah, but you want to look that up too. So, but if you're coming there looking for gas or anything, because they do sell gas at the gas station and they do sell diesel there, so that's nice to know.
And even the Wi-Fi, I mean, even, you know, because like you said, the power's out, but I think you can only use it like right there at the gas station.
Yeah, you got to be close to that building over there.
I don't know if you could use it across the street where the RVs park.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure that it would even have the distance for that.
Right, yeah.
But we couldn't even test it out because there was no power.
Because there was no power, yeah. So, park management. So, Nicole and Ken were very nice. Nicole was the person that I exchanged a couple of phone calls with, and she actually called me back to let me know a couple of things. So that was great. Ken is who we checked in with when we got there. And it was so funny because, you know, sometimes these harvest hosts have a way for you to check in. These folks did. We've been to others where there's not a way for you to check in. Here, it was just like and I have a photo of that. It's just a little clipboard. You put your name, you put your harvest host number, and you just check in. And again, this is at the gas station. And I could not remember our harvest host number. So Ken, and he just offhandedly says this, but you have to know the reference.
Right.
He's like, well, if you don't know your number, you can always use 8675309. And I was like, that's hilarious. And then I'm sitting here racking my brain trying to find our number, and I was like, are you serious about the 867? Because that's what I put down. I couldn't find it. Because our cell service at this point was not working.
Yeah, we couldn't pull anything up.
Yeah, we couldn't pull anything up.
You texted me. I never even got the text.
You never got the text, yeah.
Because I was sitting in the truck waiting for her to check in, and I never even got the text. So it's, the cell, we have Verizon service.
Yeah, we have Verizon, yeah.
Verizon just, like I said, the close Verizon
didn't work.
Phones.
Yeah.
It would switch between SOS and LTE with like one bar.
Yeah, it was pretty puny.
So it was really not strong enough to do much with.
Yeah, no. All right, nearby attractions. So an interesting thing, and this kind of looks like a new setup out here with the Amboy crater, because the department, is it the Department of Interior or BLM? It was BLM.
It was BLM.
Yeah. So what was interesting, and I think I took a photo of this, is there's right off the road, right off of the National Trails Highway, there is a sign there for the Bureau of Land Management for the Amboy Crater. You pull up into a road that looks like it's brand new. It's not very wide because you got to kind of have
but
to.
It's paved.
But it's paved.
Nicely tarred.
Beautiful
Asphalt kind of
yes.
road.
And you pull up into an area where there's some like picnic benches. I took a little footage of that. We'll see that here. But, you know, a little bit of picnic area and a way to walk up and kind of look out over the Amboy crater. Now, you're not actually seeing the actual crater.
Not at the crater.
At this point, you have to walk out a mile. I have a photo of that I'll put. We didn't actually do the walk out there, but
we got there kind of late.
Yeah, we
had Charlie with us.
Yeah.
He's not up for a 1 mile.
No.
Well, actually, it was supposed to be 3 miles round trip. Yeah. None of us were up for that.
We weren't prepared for that.
We weren't prepared for that.
Yeah.
Didn't have the right shoes. Didn't have the right, stuff.
Yeah. But it's a nice thing if you plan to do that, because sometimes on these Harvest Host stops, you know, especially with an instance like this where there's no sort of like wine tasting or distillery or whatever. There's no activity to do. You know, what are the other things that you can do? And this is not that far.
No.
I don't even think it was
just down the road. It's
like a mile.
Yeah, maybe a mile.
I don't even know if it was a mile.
Maybe
Yeah.
2.
Wasn't even that far.
Wasn't far.
Really great thing to plan to do. And then if the store is open and there's no electrical problems, you can go in, you can talk to Ken, he'll tell you all the stories about the...
Yeah, because we were able to do that before they lost the power.
Before they lost power,
we got there.
That's how I got my bandana. It's pretty sweet, huh? Route 66.
So, we got there, we talked to Ken, he gave us, some
great stories. About the owner of Amboy. And,
and then we left to go look at the crater, and it was when we got back, we were going to get some gas.
Yeah.
And the power had gone out.
Yeah, it was a bummer.
So, that was a bummer.
Yeah. So the crater, the store, you can look at all the historical markers. How many historical markers were there about? There was kind of a lot.
There was several. I mean, there was the ones right there at the motel and the cafe, but then there was ones
by the church.
By the church, and then out further by the crater.
By the crater.
There's actually a lot.
And then there's the Buddha statue.
Oh, and then this gold.
There's a gold Buddha statue.
It has a bunch of.
A little random. There wasn't any marker there, was there? Anything like that?
I don't remember a marker there.
That.
People just put their stickers on.
Yeah.
On the,
I didn't feel good about putting that on the Buddha. Now I did put one of our stickers on and you'll see it when you go to Amboy. Go to the phone booth right next to the original check-in office. You will see our sticker right there. But I didn't put it on the Buddha. I didn't feel good about that.
No.
Yes, but we did take a picture of the Buddha. Yes. Yeah. So, you know what? Here's the thing. You know, if you're a person that wants to hike around the area, if you're a person that wants to take your e-bike down and ride around, you know, you could really make a nice little stop with this. I thought it was...
Because we got there plenty early enough.
We really did.
Still had plenty of daylight.
Plenty of daylight.
So, yeah, you could find ways to entertain yourself.
You really could.
But there's nothing there that they're going to, provide for you.
No.
Other than stories.
I thought the stories were great.
Oh, I did.
Yeah. It's so interesting when you read about the owner of the Roy Cafe and Motel, and you see his link to other businesses, and then you kind of drive by and you see the Juan Pollo truck, and you're like, Juan Pollo?
Yeah.
What is that? And how does that have anything to do with the Roy's Motel? Yeah, so something to look up. Super interesting. All right, top 3 and bottom 3.
Yeah, top 3. So we liked the location for the history, the memorabilia. We got, you got bandanas, pins, and so it was actually, it was a very interesting part of Americana.
Yeah. I guess. Really nice part of Americana. You know, we saw a bunch of people just driving down to that end, taking photos, and
tons
really
of people driving up in there taking photos. And hopefully it'd be nice. I don't know if Ken or who's going to do it, but they could actually get the cafe and the motel going.
It would be really nice.
That would be really nice.
Didn't you see something like a work camping thing that was...
Well, they were looking for people to... Yeah, I think they were looking for people to help work the store.
The store.
But yeah, I mean, it would be... If they could get the other stuff going, you could hire some people to kind of help run the area. But anyway.
Yeah.
I would say that was a number... That was in the top.
In the top 3.
It was interesting.
Yeah. And on the next top 3 thing, kind of on this idea, a giant area, really big lot. No question about whether you can fit your big rig in there, if you got a tow vehicle, whatever the thing is. Very big space. But if they had an RV park out there, boy, that would be nice.
Too.
Yeah.
They had the cafe, the motel, and the RV park.
Yeah, and then you could have a camp host for the RV park. They could also do some stuff to help get the hotel back. I don't know. I think it's... there's some possibilities out there.
Yeah.
The next one in the top 3, friendly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hosts there.
Yeah, Nicole and Ken were very nice.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice to just interact with and talk to.
Yeah. Really very, very nice. They also have one of those penny machines in there. See, if we had a thought about it, we could have done a video of that. Because remember we did that at the Charles Schulz Museum? Yeah. So we've been putting, walking stick medallions on our walking sticks. And boy, I'll tell you, people just love those. And actually, we have some swag coming with a little design of that.
Yes.
Yeah, so look out for that on our Bonfire store. You can find it on Mile High Beach on Bonfire. That shirt is coming. Very cute. But yeah, so we made those little pennies, it has a little design on it, and you just smash the penny. Yeah. So that was fun, and we'll put those on our walking sticks. But they had one of those in there too. So we have bottom 4 here. Yeah.
Was that all really? Oh yeah, that was top 3.
Yeah, it was top 3.
Wait, you said Friendly? What was the third?
It was Friendly, Big Lot, and the
and then
historical interest.
Okay.
Yeah. So bottom 4. Do you remember what the bottom 4?
Well, I know a number of them didn't have anything to do specifically with the RV. With the harvest host. Yeah. It was windy.
Oh, the wind was crazy.
Really windy.
Yeah.
We were having a hard time getting in and out of the RV.
Oh my gosh.
The doors were trying to, and then when you were trying to get out of the truck.
Just trying to get out of the truck, and the doors on
blowing open.
Yeah, the doors on this truck are really heavy, and you got to really be careful. So yeah, the wind was crazy.
The wind was crazy.
Not their fault, but just a thing to know.
They had a power outage.
Power outage.
Not their fault.
Not their fault.
Due to the wind.
Due to the wind. Yep.
So we were going to get gas there. And,
Thankfully, we got into the motel and to the cafe, or to the store rather.
Before
they lost the power, because we wouldn't have been able to get the nice, the memorabilia and stuff. Talk to Ken. That was really nice. Not their fault, but just not the best.
I don't remember the other ones.
Yeah, road closure.
Oh, yeah, the road closure.
That made it kind of inconvenient, because we had to backtrack 30 miles to be able to get back on the 40, so that was no fun. And we had to go back to get gas. So 30 miles to get back, gas, come back.
Because Ken didn't know when the power was going to come back on.
Had no idea.
And it was actually on last night.
Yes.
It did come back on, I don't know, it was late.
Had we gotten power the minute we got there, went to the store, got gas.
Yeah.
When we got there, we would have been able to get the gas, and we wouldn't have even been affected by the
We
power.
wouldn't even have thought that much about it, although it was pitch black.
Oh yeah.
When
you could see some stars.
Power, it was dark.
Yeah, it was dark.
It was dark. So, but the power probably came on around 11 p.m. or something.
Yeah,
something like
because we saw lights come on the post office.
Post office lights came on. Store lights came on.
Yeah.
So they didn't come back on.
Yeah.
They were closed.
Yeah. And number 4, the thing about it being a motel and a cafe can be a little misleading. And if you don't do your research ahead of time, because you can tell by some of the reviews, even in Harvest House, that people that didn't do their research, they pull up and they're looking for food or looking to eat or have a food experience, and it's like, did you not read the thing?
And I mean and I think even the Harvest Host says they don't have food.
It does.
It's not operational, but again,
it does.
This is all part of the review and making sure you
do your research,
done your research, ask the questions.
Yeah,
because it's clear they don't sell food.
Very clear.
They sell the snacks, potato chips, sodas, that type of thing, and they got a lot to pick from.
Yeah. They got a ton
in that area.
But we got a couple of sodas. I got a Route 66 root beer,
and I got a Route 66 orange.
Route 66 orange, and we got Cheerwine.
Got some Cheerwine
because we used to watch the Hungry Hussy. His YouTube channel. He cooks on a Blackstone. We used to really appreciate that guy when we had our Blackstone. So one final thing about this Harvest Host, the Roy's Cafe and Motel in Amboy, is that, and we found this out from Ken because he had lots of great stories, is that in 2026 they're going to have the 100-year celebration of Route 66.
Yep.
Yes, and a lot of the vendors, like this Roy's Motel and Cafe, along the way are going to have these special gold passports. You saw the photo of the blue passport that we have, and they're also going to have special stamps.
They're going to have special stamps or coins
or something like that. So if you're planning a trip for Route 66, 2026 is your year. We might even do another circle back around.
Circle back around, yeah.
And do some of the spaces that we missed, and because we'll have a different RV.
We might. We don't know.
We're in the downsizing era, having those thoughts, and so
stick around.
Yeah, stick around for that. Yeah. So that's about it. This is Harvest Host Stop, part of Route 66, stop number 3, Roy's Cafe and Motel in Amboy, California.
Stop number 2. How do you say stop?
Oh, I'm sorry, stop number 2. What am I saying? We're actually headed to stop number 3. Yes.
All right. I think that's
it,
then, right?
Yes. Well, listen, folks, thank you so much for hanging in here with us. Thank you so much for watching our channel, watching our content. We are trying to build our channel. If you can subscribe, if you can like, if you can drop a comment, share your experience.
Yeah.
Have you been on Route 66?
Have you been to Amboy?
Have you been to Amboy? Did you talk to Ken? Have you been to the Amboy crater? You know, did you even know that this was 40 miles or 48 miles north of 29 Palms in the Joshua Tree National Park? Hey, you know what? Drop a comment, say hello.
Let us know.
Yeah, let us know. We sure appreciate you, and
we'll see you
we'll see you at the next stop.
Bye bye.
Because you don't know